This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. It is Friday's edition of First Alert Weather Breakdown. You'll see me in just a second. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. But hey, let's get to our main story here for the day today, which is rain actively happening during the morning hours. Haven't seen that in quite some time. And boy, has it been coming down as well, just for the select few of us. Now, you notice a good vast majority of the ArkLaTex hasn't even gotten, I wouldn't say the vast majority, but a good portion of the ArkLaTex, especially if you're north of I-20, you haven't seen a single drop of rain at all today. We did see one brief stray shower in the overnight hours reach areas of Minden. Besides that, it pretty much dried out completely when it tried to reach Shreveport and Bossier during the overnight hours. That's all we've gotten on the I-20 corridor. All the action has been south of I-20 since then. Just to give you an overview, it's been raining between Nacogdoches all the way over to Natchitoches. In that span of space, probably it's somewhere in the ballpark of the past 4 to 5 hours consecutively. It's been incredible watching this First Alert Doppler radar loop continuing to pummel storms in these areas. I will say, as of the last check of the First Alert Doppler radar, starting to form a little more storms in areas like Red River Parish and DeSoto Parish as well, and some of it's trying to reach into Panola County too over in Texas. We'll explain a little more coming up on our First Alert Weather Breakdown. That's what we're here for. Hello, welcome on. I am meteorologist Evan Thomason. It has been a rainy morning for a few of you. It has been a nice, pleasant morning still for many of you. But guess what? That's maybe going to be a little bit ruined here, especially once we get later on into today. So again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Thanks for joining the First Alert Weather Breakdown, where we are tracking on to these storms here this morning and seeing where they're going to go here later on today. There's a lot to talk on a rainy Friday overall around a good portion of the ArkLaTex. Not everybody. In fact, there's even some areas of the ArkLaTex that might not even get a single drop of rain at all today. It's a very localized forecast, meaning some areas are getting pounded with hours and hours and hours of rain, while others don't even see a drop of rain at all throughout the entirety of Friday. Now, I think the good news is, and the future track is suggesting this, is that once we slowly get into the afternoon hours, we start to get a little more movement in with our storms. And it's going to move a little farther northward to some areas that haven't seen the rain at all yet. That kind of clears out the rain out of the areas that have gotten it here throughout this morning. Which, if you're, for example, in areas like Shelby County in Texas, oh man, it has been raining all morning long there. For example, again, while take Mount Pleasant, for example, you've been just having another mostly sunny, hot day in store here for today. All right, so that's all on our weather breakdown here for today. We're tracking on to the rain. We'll also track on to some temperatures. We do have a few headlines going on with the temperatures here for the day today, with the heat staying around, especially for those of you who are not seeing the rain here for your Friday. Besides that, our exclusive content here for the day today is our regional travel forecast. So those of you traveling outside of the ArkLaTex, we got a little chance of some storms here still continuing into your Saturday here for tomorrow. But we're going to see where this rain goes here heading into the weekend, especially for those of you traveling around the ArkLaTex. Now, if you're trying to travel outside of the ArkLaTex here for today, it might be a little rough, although it kind of depends on where you're trying to go. If you're going northward, might run into a few bumps even there. If you're going westward, I think you'll be fine out towards Dallas. If you're going southward, that might cause some issues, especially after the flooding yesterday in southern Louisiana. My goodness. If you're going eastward, you also might run into issues. I think we got rain out towards Monroe and Jackson here for the day today, too. Again, we'll get all into the nitty-gritty there here in just a little bit. But anyways, thanks for joining First Alert Weather Breakdown. Thanks especially for joining on your Friday. Really appreciate it. The Red River Balloon Rally is coming on tonight. Believe it or not, I was planning on going. I was at least planning on going before this week's forecast started setting up, and then introduced our rainy day here for the day today. So we'll see how that balloon rally goes. Honestly, I'm not too enthusiastic on it. Now, has it rained in Bossier at all today? No. But that might be bad news because, unfortunately, as I said by the future track, the rain moves a little farther northward, and that might eventually hit Bossier, and it might start and the bulk of the rain for the bulk of the rain for the day today might happen closer to the afternoon hours when the gates are finally start to open up, and it might be a muddy mess, honestly, on the Downs grounds here for today. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyways, let's get into the full weather forecast here for you. Again, for those of you joining on YouTube in particular, feel free to leave a comment or a question, because I know there's a lot going on with all of the rain around. Trust me, here for the day today. Lots of it, lots to discuss as well. Here's a live look out towards downtown, or out from our downtown tower camera. This is looking southeastward towards the Red River at this hour. This is looking a little more menacing when we had a good cell on top of going towards Mansfield a little while earlier. Looks like our skies have dried up a little bit, or looking a little less threatening, so to speak, around Shreveport and Bossier. Still a good amount of cloud cover. There's not really much sunlight going through anymore. That's already different from the past several mornings where we completely had blue skies and sunshine abound. But we are getting some cloud cover in the works into Shreveport and Bossier. I will say it has been incredibly muggy this morning, too. I think the temperatures briefly went down to the upper 70s, but for a good portion of the morning, we were in the lower 80s in Shreveport. Most of that was because the humidity was even more. We had even more humidity than that of a typical summer day, which is saying something. So that could spark onto some storms here later on today across the Shreveport-Bossier area. All right, let's get to our headlines here for the day today. So again, today is your rainy day. We've been sunny over the past, I want to say 4 or 5 days or so. We got rain back here for the day today. Tomorrow, the rain trend continues technically, but I should see less numerous storms around here for Saturday. I kind of want to call Saturday like the leftovers to today's main course. Today's definitely the main course of rain that's going to be around. But don't be surprised if you do run into a stray shower or 2 or 3 here for your Saturday afternoon. Then for Sunday and next week, I got nothing but sunshine here, or pretty much for the most part. Nothing but sunshine moving on through the long-term forecast, which is going to bring along some heat, not just any ordinary heat, some of the hottest temperatures we've seen all year. Look at this. Check this out with the temperatures. This is really cool. 91 in Texarkana, yet it is 73 in Center. That is almost a 20-degree temperature difference in between the northern half of the ArkLaTex to the southern half where we've gotten all the rain. The rain has cooled us off a lot, especially in areas like Nacogdoches, Natchitoches, and Mansfield here for the time being. It is still pretty warm, though, across the I-20 corridor. I will say a little cooler than what's used to being at this time for those along the I-20 corridor. I think most of that has to deal with the cloud cover around from Marshall all the way over to Minden. But if you're still hanging around with the sunshine like you are in Texarkana, it is another mostly sunny, mostly hot day in store here for today with feels-like temperatures already up to 99 in Texarkana. Still pretty hot if you're in Shreveport and Marshall. But, I mean, look at Center. It feels like 73 degrees. If you could count the feels-like temperatures, it's almost a 30-degree temperature difference between different areas of the ArkLaTex. And this is going to be something that carries over into the afternoon, where we have these cooler, slightly cooler, especially cooler in terms of cooler than what we've seen over the past couple of days, cooler temperatures in store for the afternoon, where we might only face upper 80s, lower 90s in for the afternoon hours across Shreveport, Bossier, down southward. But for those of you not getting as much of a chance of rain here for the day today, it's another toasty one, especially in Texarkana, where it feels like temperatures could reach back up to 110 once more here for this afternoon. That could continue into tomorrow as well, with the rest of us starting to heat on up in the process too, before Shreveport, Bossier, Natchitoches, that kind of area all kind of catch up together heading into early next week. We'll have more on that in just a second, but we do have a heat advisory again in play here for the day today. But if you notice, it's not in effect for the same areas it has been for the past 2 days. We have a heat advisory now only in effect for all of southwestern Arkansas, for Bowie and Red River counties in northeast Texas, and for McCurtain County now in Oklahoma. Nothing south of there. None of our Louisiana parishes are under that heat advisory. Mount Pleasant southward also not included in the heat advisory either, mainly because of the rain. And if you're not getting the rain in that area, you're definitely seeing a lot of cloud cover, which we are already seeing in Shreveport and Bossier to help limit how much we heat up here for this afternoon. So, yes, the feels like temperatures in Shreveport only in the mid-90s here for the most part today, if that, maybe even lower 90s. But then, again, as I said earlier, back to kind of your regularly scheduled program with feels like temperatures are probably settling around 105 degrees starting Sunday and continuing into a good portion of next work week. Here is our setup. So our tropical low pressure system that we've been tracking along to all work week long. Let me go ahead and get you a better look at it with this camera here. There it is. It's now starting to move onshore. That is the point of this. And it still has a good amount of tropical moisture wrapped around it. The big chunks that we're watching out for is what's been mainly happening across the southern edge of the ArkLaTex. As I said earlier, it's been raining from Nacogdoches to Natchitoches for the past 6 hours almost, because this blob has almost been stuck in place, slowly but surely meandering and trying to rotate around this low pressure system. Meanwhile, a good amount of storms trying to spark up, although very isolated and very far in between. There's a good amount of storms trying to spark up on the east side of this low-pressure system, which are moving up northward across Mississippi and Alabama. We still have storming activity expected across southern Louisiana on the southern end of this year for the day today. But the point is this low-pressure system moves northward. Slowly but surely, this little blob and cluster of storms is going to try to slowly move up northward with it. In the process of forming more storms. We've kind of noticed that by a few storms trying to get into Coshada and Mansfield as of the past hour or two. And that's going to, again, slowly but surely crawl up northward into the I-20 corridor here for the heat of the afternoon. So that's what we're watching out here for later on today. But, boy, that loop, especially in the past 6 hours, keeping those storms right on top of, again, like Sabine Parish, Shelby County in Texas, all those kinds of areas. It's been a little worrisome. So getting a little closer look in, I mean, you can see this is already about a 4-hour loop, and those high cloud tops that you see with the colors there don't move very much. And that's always worrisome. That kind of keeps a bad recipe for flash flooding, which technically we haven't seen anything specific out of those kind of areas that I aforementioned that have been catching on to the rain here recently. But that could change. And it's just we haven't gotten any specific reports from like Sabine Parish, Natchitoches Parish, Shelby County, Sabine County in Texas, all those kind of areas. So overall, here's the basis of what's happening. Again, that tropical low pressure system is pushed up northward, so that increases our storm chances here locally. Just so you know, I mean, we had flooding issues all across southern Louisiana last night here with this system that, again, is now pushing up northward to catch into some storms into the ArkLaTex now. That have started this morning, but it continues through a good portion of today still, all the way through the evening hours. I still got a storm chance for us. And I'm watching out for a low flash flood risk in for the region. We're starting to see that this morning again in the southern edge of the ArkLaTex. So let's check on to that first alert Doppler radar here once more in throughout the region. Again, some of these storms just starting. Mansfield's gotten rain already, but looks like they're getting more dounces of rain here in the next little while. Meanwhile, Coshada's going to get hammered by a good cell here in the next little bit. They're already starting to receive a little bit of light rain in areas of Red River County. These storms are technically a few little stray bits and pieces of storms are technically forming as far north as Stonewall, which is, again, just essentially on the southern outskirts of the Shreveport-Bossier area, but it's not really hitting Shreveport or Bossier, and really hasn't done so at all this morning. And most of these tiny little cells are moving into northern DeSoto Parish and just the very southern tip of Caddo here for the time being. Looks like they're trying to get into areas around Carthage and southeastern Panola County. Meanwhile, Shelby County getting the bulk of the rain right around center. That's been happening for the good past morning hours. Sabine Parish, it's been raining there since almost 4 a.m. consecutively, although I will say, as of the last radar loop out of the last 6 hours, things look better. Things look better in that area. It looks like we're finally starting to dry out at least the eastern half of that parish here for the time being. Meanwhile, areas like Hemp Hill, St. Augustine, and Nacogdoches, still lots of rain in on those areas. Now, this was a 30-minute loop. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out here and show you the overall basis for what's happening and what we've been watching out for. So these storms this is not storms being stuck in place. These are storms moving westward. You can kind of see if you look at some of these little chunks here. They move on the 30-minute loop. They move from here to here. They're moving westward. The issue is is that we're forming storms on the eastern edge of this little cluster here that have continued to replenish the rainfall on top of that Texas-Louisiana border. And it hasn't, overall, this cluster hasn't had much of a northern trajectory. So what you get is rain almost what seems like it's stuck in place. So essentially, rain starts to dry out a little more over here, but we're forming the storms over here that continue to push lots of heavy, moderate to heavy rainfall on top of all of these kind of counties and parishes right on the Texas-Louisiana border south of I-20. So that's what's been happening so far, and it's a little bit of an issue. So as a result, you get loops that look like this. I'm going to go ahead and loop the last 6 hours. In fact, I'm going to go even further than that. I'm going to go last 12, no, that's minutes, sorry. I'm going to go last 12 hours here for you. There we go. So here's the last 12-hour loop, and, oh, what? That's 24. It says last 12 hours. This is all the way. Oh, I think it's confusing itself. Oh, it says next 12 hours. That's why. It's Friday. Bear with me. Anyways, here we go. Last 12 hours. There we go. There's the last 12-hour loop. The storm started to form around 3 in the morning. And if you look at those storms, I guess it's just continuing to pummel in the same areas. In between Natchitoches and Nacogdoches, so starting around 3 a.m. and then just continuing to flare up on those same regions. Again, keep in mind, this is a 12-hour loop. It is hard to keep storms in the same area for that long amount of time. So that's what we're watching out for. And thankfully, the storms are finally starting to move. But here is a result of what's happened here so far. Here's the 6-hour rain totals that I want to go ahead and show you here. Where we've now, to be fair, all these are estimates. None of this is confirmed at all, but this is what's given to us by our radar as like hinting, kind of how great the rain totals have been in this area. And it's like 4.5 to 5 inches of rain, essentially all in this area between Center and Natchitoches here for the most part. Most of this is in Sabine Parish. I will say Mansfield's starting to pick up a good amount of rain themselves. Essentially, anywhere in the blue shade has definitely picked up an inch of rain. And it looks like, again, that's starting around Mansfield and maybe starting to move to Coshada here at this rate. Overall, this is the last 48 hours, which does include a little bit of rain that fell late last night across the southern edge of the ArkLaTex. And you can see kind of the areas of where it has just been continuing to beat almost nonstop here between, again, last night and early this morning. Again, we had a brief shower early this morning around Minden and Ringgold, but that didn't really survive into Shreveport and Bossier, at least for now. But let's finally check out our future track for those of you that have been patiently waiting. Here is our future track here. It looks like most of these storms continue to pummel in areas of the southern half of the ArkLaTex still for the next few hours. I mean, this is 2 p.m. We still got intense amounts of rainfall rates, especially look at that pink shade. This is a little concerning there. A little pink shade that you see there in DeSoto Parish, especially on a future track. That's a little worrisome, especially with the heating of the afternoon flaring up some of these heavy rainfall storms even further along. Looks like some of this reaches Shreveport, Bossier. Again, that's where it happens. Looks like around 4 p.m. as of the latest future track. Starts around 4 p.m. and then finally kind of dries out slowly but surely by, say, 7 o'clock, which if you're going to the balloon rally tonight, that is what it essentially means is when the gates open at 5, it is still going to be an absolute mess with some rain. But thankfully, if we finally release most of the rain, looks like, again, by 8 o'clock, it'll be fine just in time for the balloon glow. Hopefully, if they can have it, after the rain settles on in and the fields aren't flooded too much, so to speak, and there's not too much leftover wind as well. They can have that balloon glow and the fireworks around 9 o'clock tonight when it finally fully dries out. But up and through the afternoon, it's looking like an ugly mess leading into the setup beforehand. Again, most of these move through Shreveport, Bossier. There's technically a slim chance of rain even catching into areas of Texarkana, but there is certainly a good amount of spots, especially for those of you north of I-30. I'm not looking at any rain for you at all. Then for Saturday, expect maybe a few tiny stray showers, but overall definitely not as much as what we're expecting here for the day today. And then Sunday, almost the same thing. Maybe 1-2 stray showers, but overall, here is your rainfall potential for today. Again, most of it is happening around Natchitoches. Now, to be fair, This is in addition to what's already fallen. So you could get an additional inch or two still in areas of the southern edge of the ArkLaTex, still around areas of Natchitoches. But it looks like this rain is, yes, looking more and more likely for Shreveport and Bossier, especially as of that last future track here for the afternoon hours. So watch out, especially headed home from work, because that's going to have some heavy rainfall coming on by. And thankfully, again, as we mentioned, after today, the rain chances get so much less. And I will say this entire 7-day forecast past Saturday is looking almost bone dry. So just got to get through this afternoon. And again, there's going to be some pockets of heavy rainfall that could lead to a low flash flood risk, but just got to get through the rest of today. So, again, for that Red River Balloon Rally, I think that the timing, it's all about the timing. I think we should dry out by the glow tonight and by the fireworks tonight, but, and a strong but, those storms are looking to be giving us heavy rainfall and heavy problems right as soon as the gates open at 5 p.m. So, I know people want to be there early, get a good parking spot, that kind of thing. Always want to see everything early before crowds get a little too crowded. Enjoy all the music kind of early as well, and all the pregame festivities. But unfortunately, things aren't looking to clear up until the actual time of the balloon go late tonight. So it looks like once we dry out, according to that future track, we fully dry things out. But those grounds are going to be soaked here for the afternoon hours. Tomorrow, looking a lot better. You could have to dodge a stray shower or two, but overall Saturday is looking a lot better. And then Sunday, we fully dry out by that time. That was a full look at this local forecast. Oh, my goodness. A lot to talk about. Obviously, the heat's coming back next week. By Monday, we have a high of 98 degrees, and the high gets up to 100 here for both Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, there is a 20% chance of rain. I have noticed just a slim chance of some showers showing back up here, but it's nothing that looks too impressive here at this point. We'll keep you first alert about that closer we get to that time frame. But overall, most of the long-term period is looking dry overall, especially, again, once we get into Sunday. Just got to watch out for the rain here later on today. All right, we're going to go over a quick regional weekend travel forecast here for you, especially because I know we're a little bit behind time already. But obviously, we had a lot to go over with all the rain still around. Again, stay weather aware here for tonight. We'll have a don't go anywhere, though. Again, we'll have a travel forecast for those of you reaching outside of the ArkLaTex and traveling outside of the ArkLaTex here for this weekend. We'll go over that coming up next. Welcome on back to the First Look Weather Breakdown. Again, thank you for joining us for the full local forecast. Obviously, we had tons to discuss with all the rain. And maybe I'm just too enthusiastic about rain being back here in summer because it doesn't happen as often. I'm mainly just talking about sunshine, blue skies, and lots of heat, which is most of the forecast for next work week also coming up. But, again, watch out for the rain. Not only is it any ordinary rain, it's tropical rain. Now, to be fair, the Storm Prediction Center, something I know I'm about to get in the regional travel forecast in a second, but I do want to mention real quick, no chances of severe weather much with the system except for the little chances some flash flooding and some of those puddles showing up on those roadways, especially with the intense amount of rainfall coming on down. All right, so let's get into the regional travel forecast here for you. So again, this low pressure system is affecting most areas around us as well. Southern Louisiana is still getting rain here today, and so will areas of Mississippi and Alabama. Already starting to get in on some rain action too. There's another system actually hitting northern Oklahoma and northern Arkansas here at this time as well. That's going to kind of clash with this system too. Now, it's not giving us as much rain on that return yet, but we'll see. So areas around New Orleans, southern Louisiana getting less rain, light rain. Again, the bulk of the storm coverage is actually in our DMA, right on the southern half of the ArkLaTex currently. But still a couple of isolated storms all across pockets of I was about to say Arkansas, the other A state. There's other A states, but Alabama, there we go, geography. Mississippi, also western edge of Florida, too, dealing with some storms here. Pop-up showers at best. Again, this is not the scattered coverage of storms that we have over here, but still several pop-up and flare-up storms that we're seeing here for the time being. All right, so for your future track, and for the rest of today, again, we're watching out, especially during the heat of the afternoon, because that's when the storms appear to be curling back around. And we're getting scattered showers not only across here locally in the ArkLaTex, but pretty much anywhere east of here. If you're traveling east on I-20, you're going to be faced with a lot of rain. Look at that. Almost all of Mississippi and Alabama filled with lots of rain. Same thing for the area of Monroe as well. And so many of these storms still reach into central Louisiana down towards Alexandria here for the time being, too. So we get rid of that rain here by the end of Friday. Everybody dries up. You see the cloud cover is still hanging around, though, into Saturday, and still the last little remnants of this system trying to just briefly give us some rain here for tomorrow. And that includes the coastline of Louisiana, too. Just a few flare-up storms even around Mississippi as well. Sunday, driest day around the ArkLaTex, and I'd say driest day regionally overall. Maybe just a brief pop-up shower around Baton Rouge and looks like the Arkansas-Mississippi border. But besides that, I think everybody else regionally is filing the same forecast as we are. I will say, if you look anywhere westward out towards like Dallas and Houston, they really don't have a chance for storms at all from this weekend whatsoever. So most of us hanging around with sunshine. For the time being, most of our major cities around here with temperatures mainly up in the 80s, 90 degrees right now in Little Rock. That I believe Little Rock is under an excessive heat warning here for the day today, but obviously expected to have plenty of afternoon storms across the vast majority of the ArkLaTex. Look at the vast majority of the regional area around here. Look at the one exception to that. Dallas and Houston, Texas. So if you want to go somewhere dry here for this weekend, Texas is the way to do it. I will say it's going to be incredibly hot over there, though, with high temperatures around 98 in Dallas tomorrow, 92 in Houston. Hopefully drying things out a little more here for your Saturday. And, again, we completely dry things out here mostly by Sunday, pending a little rain around New Orleans, but that's really it. Not only that, we heat things up as well. Highs are all in the 90s by the time we get into Saturday, after highs are, I believe, only in the 80s here for the most part for the regional forecast here today. All right. That is your full first throw weather breakdown. Thank you very much for joining us here for the day today. I do want to give a shout out to Christian, who left a comment on our YouTube page. Yes, Austin is sadly gone now, but hey, we still have a great three-man team here at KSLA News 12. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to our next adventures together. Thanks for watching First Throw Weather Breakdown. I really appreciate it. All right, we'll be back first thing next week. Meteorologist CJ Cartledge will be your host on Monday at 10:30. I will see you again back on this podcast on Wednesday. CJ should have you covered for both Monday and Tuesday coming up next week at 10:30. Again, thanks for watching First Throw Weather Breakdown. Watch out for the rain later today. You can download our KSLA News 12 weather app if you want to track on to the rain on your own time. Or if you just want our next update here today, our next update will be coming on our noon show, which is just in about an hour away from now. I am off, but meteorologist CJ Cartledge will be. You're giving your forecast and giving your radar update, essentially, on the noon show then. So watch out for him and his forecast then. As for me, again, have a great rest of your day. Have a fantastic weekend. And I will see you Wednesday of next week. But you be there on Monday at 10:30 with meteorologist CJ Cartledge sitting right in this very chair. All right. Stay weather aware. Again, just got to get through one rainy day today, and then have a beautiful weekend. I will see you later. Remember, Monday. I was like, there was one more thing. Oh, yeah. Monday, 10:30. Be there. Be square. And most importantly, especially today with rain around, be weather aware. Have a great rest Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend.